Thank you again for joining us. Laura Bosma, Pretty Penny Precuts, your stitching host in the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum. We're working on our Fall 2020 Stitch Along, and the project is called Midnight Pumpkin. We're on step 3, and we're going to create the large pumpkin from the 2 medium-sized pumpkins you have in your kit. This is the finished project in its oval form, and you'll note, how did we go with 3 parts when we only had 2? And that's what we're going to be at right now. So step 3, creating the large pumpkin. I want you to pull up the 2 pumpkins that you have in your kit and some freezer paper. Now, if you have purchased that wonderful applique pressing sheet, I believe it's acetate, a little bit of trivia, that product actually comes out of our space program, just like Velcro did. A lot of products came from their usability in space. Then use that. By all means, use it. I have 1 or 2, but honestly, the easiest thing for me to grab at any given moment is just plain old parchment paper in my drawer that has the foil and the wrapping and the freezer paper. It's just easier for me to use that. Look at your pumpkins. No 2 are going to be the same, so don't have buyer's remorse when you see somebody else's. Hand dyeing is very serendipitous. No 2 of anything ever look exactly the same. What I really want you to identify with your 2 pumpkins is which one's lighter and which one's darker, if they are. In my particular case, this one is quite a bit lighter than this one. So I'm thinking about it being a pumpkin that I'm seeing at midnight when there's no moon, maybe a little bit of starshine. What am I going to see first? I'm probably going to see the lightest first. So I'm going to have that guy be on top. And then behind it, I'm going to have this guy. The way we're going to create that large pumpkin out of these 2 pumpkins is to literally take the one that will be in the back. We're going to end up stacking these. You'll have 1 full one in the center, and then you'll have 2 sides out here, is to take the one that's going to be the 2 sides and literally, just fold it in half. Now it is asymmetrical. Hopefully you noted in step 2, I used the wrong word. Your background shape is symmetrical, meaning it's the same right, left, top, center. This is asymmetrical, meaning it's not perfectly the same on all sides, but that just, I think, goes to make it more interesting. So I'm going to just do that. I'm going to just roughly fold it in half, and I'm going to put some scissors to it, and I'm going to cut it. You have then approximately 2 inches roughly of each side. So I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to remember, if it's important to you, that this down here is the bottom and this is the top. The reason I'm working on the freezer paper is it's a temporary stick, and I can iron with a dry iron if I so choose, and that's what I'm going to do in this particular case. So I'm going to remove the waste paper. If you haven't worked with the Light Steam-A-Seam 2 Fusible before, I honestly love the product. I know it has some detractors. We'll get into that, and I'll show you how to steam it so that it will be a happy use project and product when you use it. I'm going to remove that. Now, if you love this pumpkin shape, save that guy and trace him, make a pattern for yourself and save that. I'm going to lay that down on my parchment paper. Again, it's a temporary stick. It's kind of down there. It's kind of not. I'm going to peel up. I'm working on what would be, I see it as the right side. You may see it as the left side. I never know. But there's the waste paper from half of it. And I'm just going to slide it under until it looks right. And I'm going to slide it under a little bit at an angle. So all I really need is for at least, roughly 1/4 of an inch to be underlapped on any given side. Now don't worry that there's a gap up here. We're going to fix that in the rest of the design, or something will go over it. But there's my one side, and then I'm going to just repeat that. I'm going to just, bend it a little bit, flick at it. That sometimes helps it let go. Remove that second waste paper piece, and then I'm going to put that one down. Now this is a pumpkin. This grew in Mother Nature's world. No 2 of those are ever alike either. so you know that your right and left side don't look exactly the same. That's how it's supposed to be. So let that, just go with it. And again, it'll be more overlapped in the center, but as you feel it with your fingers, it's going to be less overlapped up here. But as long as you've got at least 1/4 inch overlapped, that is one large pumpkin from 2 medium-sized pumpkins. Now you can just finger press this and the fusible will grab the wool. If you're super in love with this particular shape, then again, we're ironing on paper. You can go ahead and get your dry iron and you can go ahead and iron that. You can iron these guys together if you're so inclined. Again, 5 to 7 seconds over each part so that when you need to pick this up, it'll move as a single entity. Do you see that? That's the beauty of this Light Steam-A-Seam 2 fusible with a sticky property. It just lets you design so wonderfully, and that's a good reason why I use it. So there you have it. We've created in step 3 one large pumpkin out of 2 medium-sized pumpkins. This will be fixed. Don't panic. Don't trim anything yet. Thank you again for joining us with the Southeastern Quilt and Textile Museum and myself, your stitching host, Laura Bosma, Pretty Penny Pre-Cuts.